All right.
Sheriff's office, come outside with your hands up!
She said there's an old white lady.
Right here?
Do you have your trauma bag?
There is still someone with a gun.
She's inside.
Okay.
Where?
Bro,
Where?
ex-military. She's in the house, bro. That apartment. Right here. This first apartment. I need like a 49
Baby, wake up!
It happened time after time after time yet again. The confrontations between neighbors Susan Lorenz and Ajika A.J. Owens were well documented and numerous. Their turbulent interactions would come to a head just before 9 p.m. on June 2nd, 2023, when a caller to 911 stated that they had shot someone. That caller was Susan Lorenz, and that someone was Ajika Owens. Welcome back, everyone. I am your host, Jonny, and this is Morbid Curiosity. In this episode, we'll be doing a deeper dive on a case that has made national headlines, and that is the case of Susan Lorenz. Chances are that you've probably heard something about this case, maybe on the news or something like that, but today we'll be going over all the information on the case, as well as the newly released interrogation that was just made public. Now, there's a good amount of information that went into making this video, so if there's a specific part that you'd like to jump to, if you just don't want to hear me talk or look at my face, here's some timestamps for some critical parts of the video. And a last note before we jump in, I just want to thank all of you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. Thank you all for this amazing journey. If you want to support the channel a little bit more, feel free to become a channel member or a patron. Get early access to videos, crime scene images, all that good stuff. But otherwise, thank you for watching, thank you for being here, and thank you for letting me be a part of your life. Now back to our story. So police get there and AJ's lying down in the field that was basically between her and Susan's house. Now this field is really important to the story, but first emergency personnel arrive and they tend to AJ and they rush her to the hospital. Now AJ, real name Ajika, she was a mother to 4 kids. Now these 4 kids, they love to play. And these 4 kids, they love to play in fields. Now Susan, I can confirm that she's divorced, but I don't have any information as far as if she has kids. But if she did have kids, she at least hated the little ones, or she's just a rape. But anyway, we're basically looking at an older woman without kids and a younger woman with 4 kids. Now, AJ's kids, like I said, they like to play in the field. This is a June summer night at this point. It was 84 degrees during the day. By the time night rolled around, it was 72 degrees. But Susan, she didn't like that. Susan didn't like the sound of kids laughing or playing or screaming. And I'm not going to say that the kids weren't obnoxious. Let's be real here. Kids can be kids and kids can be loud and obnoxious. But Susan didn't care. She'd had words with AJ about her kids before and neither side felt like they needed to budge. Susan even put up like a no trespassing sign and AJ went over there and ripped it up and threw it at her. And this ended up becoming a police interaction. But that's only one of the 6 police interactions that happened between them over the last 2 years until that night. Now the timeline of events for the night in question are a little bit muddy to say the least. I mean, there's differing information between articles and interviews and whatnot, but everything that we're going to cover here is directly from the court documents that are currently publicly available, and this will be the version of events that will play out in court. So on this June 2nd, and likely every day for the previous 2 years prior to this, Susan and AJ's kids get into some sort of argument. But on this night, there's a group of about 10 kids and they're playing in the field next to Susan's house. This is the biggest field in the neighborhood, and all the kids regularly decide to go play there so everybody can play together. So when night comes, most of these kids disperse and they go home, except for AJ's youngest son. He goes home and realizes that he forgot his tablet. So he goes back to retrieve his tablet, and he had left it kind of sort of near Susan's apartment. So he walks back across the street and he sees right away that Susan's got his tablet. And Susan was already not happy. Earlier in that night, while they were all playing, Susan was out there with her phone recording them and then flipping them the bird the entire time. Like to a bunch of kids, what the hell? But AJ's son goes up to Susan and asks her to put the tablet down, and she responds by throwing this thing to the ground. Now that's already pretty extreme, but on top of that, she took a roller skate that was also left somewhat near her apartment in the field and threw it at the little boy, ultimately hitting him in the toe. And this whole time, Susan's screaming at this 10-year-old boy to go get his mom. Well, okay, so anyway, this kid goes, and instead of doing that, he goes to his 12-year-old older brother. This 12-year-old brother was actually playing with him in the field, but at this point, he was now playing basketball down the street. So the 10-year-old brother goes up to the 12-year-old brother and says, hey, this is what's happening with the lady across the street. Can you help me? So older brother, of course, as older brothers do, decide to come to the rescue of his little brother. So he goes over and decides to talk to Susan. But at the same time, he tells little brother to go tell mom, to go tell AJ what's going on. Older bro gets to Susan's apartment and he's yelling at her and he's saying, if you want to throw something, you throw it at me. So Susan responds by coming out and swinging an umbrella and saying you're trespassing, and ultimately screaming at him, and he goes away too. I should mention that while Susan was swinging this umbrella, she actually didn't make contact with the boy, but still, she actually swung it at him. Now it's roughly around this time that Susan calls 911. It's like 8:54 p.m. at this point, and she says that there's some juveniles outside of her apartment. Juveniles, these are AJ's sons, by the way, but they're outside of her apartment, they're trespassing, and they're saying that they're gonna come beat her up. And her demeanor is just overall calm and collected. But the older brother goes and talks to Susan, and when he's done, he's walking back and he sees AJ coming out of the house. He tells her what happened with the crazy lady across the street, and AJ starts storming over to Susan's apartment. Now AJ is fired up. She's mad as hell. Somebody's been messing with her kids, destroying their property, throwing stuff at them, hurting them. And this lady, by all reports for the last 2 years, has been a hellraiser. So AJ's over there banging on the door and she's screaming at her, don't touch my son, throw something at me, open this door, you heard me? And not that much time had transpired between AJ getting there at this point. This is where her sons were located. Hey y'all, Editing John here. I was actually editing this video at 3 a.m. or 3:12 a.m. And I realized I wanted to show you a little bit more than I had originally recorded. So this is the neighborhood where everything happened. This is 108th Lane in Ocala, Florida. Right over here, you can see the field. This is actually the field where everything happened. Let's scoot it a little bit. This is the field. If you look right over here, where this white box is, this is Susan's apartment. Right over here is that no trespassing sign that I had mentioned. But if you look across the street, this is Ajika's house right over here. In the Bodycam video at the very beginning of the video that you're watching, you can actually see Ajika against the back of this vehicle right over here. But if I look over here, I can show you. This is roughly the spot where Ajika had collapsed after being shot. You can't see behind this tree right here, but there's a metal number 3 hidden behind this tree. That's where Ajika's 12-year-old son was standing. And right over here, this gray Titan, I believe that's a Titan. This is roughly where Ajika's 10-year-old son was standing. I believe the truck was actually in this spot, if I'm not mistaken. But that is the neighborhood. That's a layout of the neighborhood. And that's where Ajika's sons were on the night of June 2nd, 2023. AJ's still standing by Susan's door when a deafening bang rings out. Susan had just fired her gun at the door, right where AJ was standing. The bullet pierces right through the steel door, and then AJ makes a sound indicative of being hit. She stumbles back and cries out, call 911, continues into the field before she collapses, where neighbors immediately start CPR on her. Between hanging up that first 911 call and making the second, a total of 2 minutes had passed. This is that second 911 call. Now, it can be a little bit difficult to decipher, so if you want to skip ahead, you can skip to this time down here, but otherwise, this is what Susan Lorenz had to say after shooting AJ Owens.
911 was the address of the emergency.
Oh my God, this lady just tried to break down my door. I shot through the door. Oh my God.
Okay, repeat that address for me to make sure I have it correct. Okay, what is your name?
They were trying to come in my house.
Okay, what's going? Take a deep breath for me. Calm down.
Oh my God.
You said someone tried to break down your door. Is that correct?
Yes, the woman was screaming and yelling and she was trying to break down my door.
Okay, it was a female?
Yes. I didn't know what to do. I grabbed my gun and I shot at the door. And I thought she was going to get me. Oh my God.
Okay, you said you shot at the door. Is that correct?
Yes, I shot at the door because she wouldn't stop. I told her to get away and she wouldn't. She just kept begging.
Okay, where's your gun now?
It's in my bedroom. I didn't know what to do. I was panicking. This is the woman who attacked me.
Okay, do you still see the subject?
I don't know where she is. I'm still in my house. I didn't open my door to her.
Is it just only you in the home?
Yes, it's just me.
Okay, I just need you to lock all your doors and windows, okay?
I have.
Okay, I'm going to stay on the line until the deputies get there.
Okay. My son's going to come and kill me.
And did you know her?
Yes, she's come after me several times because of her children. Her children keep trespassing over here. They're bothering me and bothering me. They won't stop.
Is she a neighbor?
Yes.
Near the end of this 911 call, AJ's 12-year-old son is dialing 911 too, saying that his mother had just been shot. By 9:07 p.m., deputies had arrived and found AJ in the grass, suffering from a gunshot wound to the upper right portion of her chest, near her armpit. Officers began rendering aid immediately while taking their suspect Susan into custody, bringing us back to where our body cam from earlier had left off.
Wake up! Wake up, baby! Wake up! Baby, wake up! Come on! Hey, baby, wake up!
We need to do CPR real quick.
Baby, wake up!
CPR.
Baby, wake up!
Let me see. Do we have any pulse?
Signal 35.
Do we have any pulse?
Elderly female barricaded in the house. Signal 0.
Station 1033.
We got a pulse! We got pulse!
I'm in front. All right.
Sheriff's office, come outside with your hands up! This is the Marion County Sheriff's Office, come outside with your hands up! Show me your hands! Show me your hands! Turn around! Turn around! Where's your gun at?
You got hands? You got hands?
You're going to be detained.
Is there anybody else in the house?
There's somebody else in the house. Can I just get my
No,
water?
no, not right now.
All right.
You're not under arrest, you're being detained.
Okay, I understand.
Come over here.
Wait, please close the door. I have two cats inside.
Hold
I
on.
don't want the cats to run out.
AJ was transported as a trauma alert to HCA Florida Ocala Hospital. Sadly, she would succumb to her injuries, being declared dead at 9:36 p.m. Initial reports on the case lambasted law enforcement for not immediately placing Susan under arrest, but she was adamantly claiming that she fired the gun in self-defense, stating that she was in fear for her life and was in mortal danger. But something wasn't sitting right. To detectives and to the sheriff himself, it seemed like she was just parroting information to justify the shooting under the stand your ground law. Susan was released pending the results of the investigation, but during that time, the police uncovered a few more widely corroborated details that Susan had omitted. This is the interrogation of Susan Lorenz.
Yep, perfect. It's just as cold in here, I promise. All right, give us just a couple minutes here.
Susan, I'm Detective Pender. Can I get your water? We're getting our paperwork, okay? Would you like to have a water?
I have a water.
You already got one? Give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Susan?
Okie dokie.
Sorry, I'm freezing.
Susan, I appreciate you coming back in and talking. Meeting with us. You already have a water? Is there anything else we can get for you right now?
That's fine.
You're doing okay? All right, very good. Again, if you remember, Detective Steph. This is Detective
I'm
Pender.
Detective Pender. I haven't got a chance to meet you yet, but I'm looking forward to being able to speak with you. I work with Detective Stiff. We work together. I was learning different things. So, anyways, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and let him cover what he needs to, and then I'll get a chance to meet you then, okay?
So, Susan, obviously when we spoke the other night, it was kind of a lot of things going on still. A lot of the pieces of what happened were still trying to be put together. Since then, we've obviously talked to a lot more witnesses who were there. We've gained access to some video from around the area of where your complex is located. So during those interviews, during that process of obtaining new stuff, obviously it brings new questions that we wanted to kind of cover with you and try to verify some of the stuff you said, as well as clarify things that we don't quite understand. So I was hoping that we could do that today.
Okay.
Obviously, just like last time, I want to make sure that you understand your rights and everything. So before we get started, I just have to read you the same thing I did last time. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer with him, have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to execute these rights, not answer any questions, or make any statements. Do you understand each of those rights I've explained to you? Okay. And having those rights in mind, you willing to talk to us now?
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, we've talked to a bunch of other people since then. Has there been anything that you've thought of since you and I had last talked, in person at least, that you can remember that maybe at the time, because there was a lot of emotions and,
I don't know what else I could tell you, honestly.
Okay. So nothing that happened that night that you didn't remember at the time, or you just, like I said, there was a lot going on that you maybe didn't think to say.
I don't know what to tell you because I thought I told you everything.
Okay. All right. So some of the things, like I said, we were just trying to clarify because we were in the room together for a while talking, and we went over a lot of different things. So one of the things I wanted to clarify with you is, and try to understand better, is when Ajika was at the door, when she approached the door, when was it that you realized that it was her coming to the door?
Because I said, "Who's there?"
Okay. How did you know someone was there initially? Was it because...
It was a huge banging.
Okay.
They were just pounding at that door.
Okay. So initially, there was no words. It was just the pounding. Yeah. That's what started the interaction there?
Yes.
And where was the pounding at initially, where it first began?
At the front door.
At the front door?
Yes.
Okay. How many times did she was it just like one or
no,
several?
It was just bang, bang, bang.
Okay.
Bang.
All right. And then you asked her who's there? Okay. And what was said then?
I think she said, "Why do you speak to my children this way?" And I said, "Listen, I'm not going to speak to you. Go away." If she had a problem, she should have called you guys. Honestly. I mean, if she really thought there was something seriously wrong, I don't understand why she just came over and just started pounding on my door and, screaming and yelling. So.
And then what happened after you said to go away?
Go away, and then it got quiet for a bit. And then she started really banging, just pounding on that door. Okay. She was relentless.
How long is a bit, would you say?
I don't know, because
5-10 seconds or 2 minutes? Or?
It was an extended period of time, probably 20 to 30 seconds, easily.
But during that time, you didn't hear anything else? Did you think she went away?
No, well, I obviously knew she didn't go away because she was screaming while she was pounding.
Describe that. When you say screaming, what does that mean?
She just, "You're not supposed to speak to my children this way. Why did you, and then she was saying, "I'm going to kill you." And I'm like, holy shit, and that's when
Well, you said there was like the initial barrage of the pounding, and you said, "Who's there?" And she said, what you said about not talking to her children that way.
Yeah.
And then you said it got quiet. So there was no banging, there was no words being said.
Because I thought she went away.
That's what I was asking. Basically, I'm sorry if I.
No, it's okay. I thought, all right, she's just going to do whatever she wants to do.
And you said that was like 20 to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then did she start yelling again first, or was there more banging?
It was banging. It was yelling. I thought she was just going to break down the door.
Okay.
So I mean, my heart was pounding, and I was like, she's really going to kill me.
Okay,
so all I felt.
When she first came up and where were you when she started the beating? The very first time you were in the bathroom when she started beating. Yeah. And did you come to the door?
Well, I was approaching the door, and then she started screaming, and I knew who it was.
Okay.
I said, "That's it. I'm not opening this door."
Okay.
And because I figured if she came in, she would just absolutely, pound me into the ground.
All right. And then when it became silent, after that first round of beating on your door, where were you at then? Did you go?
I went to wash my hands, honestly.
Okay.
Because I didn't know who was at the door, and I wanted to know, and then I was like.
Okay.
You know, so I went back and washed my hands.
Okay.
So,
So that's during the time where it was kind of quiet and you
Yes.
thought that maybe she went away.
mhm.
Okay. And when the banging and the yelling started again, where were you at then?
I think I was in the kitchen.
Okay. All right. And then what happened?
And then she just kept banging and yelling. I'm like, you need to leave. You're trespassing. Get off my porch. You know, get out of here. You know, I'm not talking to you. Leave.
Okay. Who else was outside the door besides
I have
Adrica?
no idea.
You don't know?
I have no idea.
Where were the other kids? Because I know the kids had been over there prior to her coming over.
Yeah,
or...
they were right by the, you know, where the fence is, and then there's a sidewalk. They were right beyond that sidewalk, inside where it's supposed to be no trespassing.
Okay, so they were outside of the fence while she was banging on the door?
I have no idea.
Oh, you're not sure?
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
You asked me when the kids were there earlier.
Right.
So, and the kids finally, you know, I went inside. I figured they left.
So you didn't know who else was out there at that
No
time?
idea.
Okay. So you went to the kitchen and she was still pounding on the door and
Pounding on the door.
yelling. And I know we've kind of gone over this a lot, but I want to make sure now we're getting more like in order of things, because the first time we talked, it was kind of just like it all came out all at once. And now that you've had a little bit of time to kind of think about things that happened again and try to get it in a good order that things happen, because it's very important to be able to say, okay, this happened first, this will happen next, so that we don't get them confused or anything.
Okay.
So after that initial silence where, well, I wouldn't say silence, but it got quiet, you were washing your hands in the bathroom, and then the pounding and the yelling started again, and you went to the kitchen. What were you doing in the kitchen?
I was looking for my phone.
Okay.
So I put my phone down somewhere and I started panicking. I started searching for the phone. And then she just kept banging and banging and banging. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. You know, get out of here. You know, and I'm like, I have nowhere to go. I mean, I was in the kitchen. There's the sliders, and the sliders are always locked. And just that one door, so there's no escape.
Okay.
I couldn't leave. I couldn't get out of there. I was like, Jesus Christ. And she was pounding so hard. The mirror on my wall was shaking.
Okay. So that first, I'm sorry to go back, but that first time that she pounds on the door, how long do you think that lasted before there was kind of the silence? I know you said she hit the door, you said, who's there? And that what was it said?
Probably 5-10 seconds she was pounding the first time.
Okay. And then when it started again, how long, and I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit, but we'll kind of come back. When she started pounding on the door again and saying all that stuff to the point where you fired the gun, how long do you think that lasted?
2 to 5 minutes.
2 to 5 minutes.
I don't know. Everything's kind of, it was a while. I mean, it was a while. I kept thinking, okay, you guys are going to show up, you know, because I had called earlier and no one was coming. I'm like, shit, couldn't find my phone. And she was just banging and banging, screaming at me, telling me, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. I'm like, she's really going to kill me this time. That's all I kept thinking. She's literally going to come in this house and kill me.
Okay. When did you find your phone? At what point?
After I shot her. I just started searching the house frantically until I found it. And I wanted to make sure that I called and said, you know, I shot, because I heard her go, ugh. And
Where was your phone?
I think it was in my computer room.
In the computer room? Okay.
So, let me just understand this a little better, because I'm not really sure. So, the woman that got shot, what is her name?
AJ.
AJ. Right, it's AJ.
Yeah.
Okay, and how long have you known her?
I really didn't know her. I just, you know, she was a neighbor across the street.
Okay, so how long has she been a neighbor across the street from you? Help me understand that.
A year and a half, 2 years.
Okay, year and a half and 2 years. And in that year and a half and 2 years, how many times have you guys been able to talk?
We've never talked. It's more like screaming.
No, okay, all right. So maybe better would be communicate. How many times have you guys been able to communicate in that year and a half or 2 years?
2-3 times.
2 or 3 times. And in those 2 or 3 times over a year and a half and 2 years, what were you guys screaming about? What were you guys communicating about?
She would take her dog and walk it on my sidewalk to make sure it's shit on the sidewalk. And
Yeah.
like, oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know, of all the places you can walk and take your animal, you're going to come here. And
Sure.
She said, it's the only place my dog will go to the bathroom.
Okay.
I'm
So
like, no, I don't think so.
okay, so you guys would have a disagreement regarding that, some screaming regarding the dog pooping where it shouldn't. What else would you guys communicate about in that 2 or 3 times?
Then one time she was talking to the neighbors and she said, oh, that bitch over there is crazy. And I went, no, I'm not going to, you know, sorry. I walked over, I said, what is your problem? And she just went on a tirade. I have never heard someone scream like this woman. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, she exploded. And I'm like, oh shit.
How long ago was that?
2 months ago.
2 months.
2-3 months ago. And then she was saying I called her kids all kinds of names, and I'm like, no, I didn't. And the more I said no, the more irate she got. Finally, I'm like, you know what? Let me just back off, say yes, I'll apologize, and scurry away.
What kind of things was she saying that you called her kids?
That I called them racial slurs, that I called them slaves, and that's never happened. I mean, when she said, I'm like, what are you? Stop already, stop lying, you know? And I was like, enough, what? I did call them retards once because they just kept coming and coming. I said, are you retarded? You can't read the sign.
Okay.
You know, how many times do we have to tell you you're trespassing, you know?
Now, all these kids nowadays, they have tablets and phones and stuff. Are you, I mean, you can tell us the truth. I mean, it's just us in here. I think we were looking at different videos and people were telling us about, we spoke to everyone in the neighborhood separately.
Mm-hmm.
Was there other times when you got frustrated or something with these kids and you've said something else that we're not talking about? I mean, have you said other words to them or something about middle fingers or something? Tell me about that.
It wasn't at the kids, it was at the gentleman.
Who's the gentleman?
I only know him by his name, Sapito.
So, okay.
So he's a guy, he gets all the kids together, so they're screaming and yelling and they're doing all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, stop already. And I asked him, I said, please stop. I don't like the yelling. I just, you know, I'm sorry, going to break down.
No, take your time. What is the crazy stuff that Sapito has these kids doing? Tell me about that.
He used to ride a four-wheeler.
Uh-huh.
And he would come around the house. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Then he'd have the kids on the back, no helmets, no nothing. And I'm like, stop already. The one time I went out there, he almost hit me.
Uh-huh.
He's like, missed you. Jesus Christ, really? And I'm like, I just can't deal with it. I have an injury right now. I have an aneurysm on my left kidney artery.
Mm-hmm.
If he hit me, he'd kill me.
So was it on last Friday that you were kind of giving him the middle finger then? Is that what I was understanding?
I may have given him the middle finger because we're just out there and I took a picture and he's like, oh, go take more pictures. I'm like, you know, because.
What other kind of crazy things is he having these kids do? Is it something where
he would have them exercise and scream and yell, and the kids are like, we're tired, stop, we're tired.
Is he like a coach, or do they play sports
I don't
or
know.
something?
I have no idea. And he's like, come on, you weenies, you know, get moving. And the kids are like, no, we want to stop. He's like, you can't stop.
Is he the father of one of those kids that live?
I have no idea.
I'm not sure.
I don't know who he is. I just know that. And I asked him, I said, please. I said, you know, one of my friends was murdered when I was very young. And she screamed. She was bound and gagged, and the guy thought he killed her, and she screamed. And so every time those little kids scream, I keep thinking of my friend Elizabeth.
Tell me about that. Whoa.
So, and I asked him, I said, Sapito, please, these kids screaming like this, it's triggering me. I don't want to hear this, you know? And he's like, you're full of shit, you're a liar, you're this, you're that. I'm like, really? I'm like, why would I tell this story and it's not true?
I know this is kind of not really related to what we're talking about, but what happened with your friend? Is that when you were very young? Or
14.
Oh, my gosh.
So that guy came and he raped her and he beat her and he thought he killed her. And he bound her up. She was at Shulton Factory, the Old Spice factory in Jersey.
Oh.
And next to it was a children's playground. And he buried her there in a shallow grave. And she wasn't dead. So when the coroner said that there was all dirt in her lungs because she kept screaming. So every time those little girls screamed, it just kind of, you know, made me think of Elizabeth.
Have you ever been a victim of any violence?
Oh, yeah.
Describe that to me.
I was beaten.
Did that happen here or in New Jersey?
In Jersey.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
Started when I was 4. It didn't stop until I was like 20.
Okay. And was New Jersey police or whatever able to help you out with that, give you justice or anything?
No.
Was that ever reported to law enforcement?
No, because I was starting to be killed.
Okay. So that was something that wasn't reported. And was this from a known family member or something? I worked special victims unit for years. Okay. So this was from a known family member. Have you ever been a victim of some kind of violence from a random person or something like that?
Yes.
Describe that to me.
I was dating a gentleman, a doctor up in Michigan.
Uh-huh.
And we were going to, move forward with the relationship and everything. And he got super drunk one night and he started beating me.
Uh-huh. So that sounds like domestic violence. Someone else that you were associated with, and they did something bad to you. Were you able to report that to New Jersey or whatever it may be? Were they able to arrest that man?
Up in Michigan.
Michigan. Were they able to arrest him for anything?
I never said anything. I was so embarrassed.
Sure. Sure,
You
that's
know,
common.
I'm an adult, you know,
Yeah.
I should know. I mean, as soon as he finished and he passed out, I left.
Okay.
You know, and just got out of the situation, never spoke to him again.
Have you ever been a victim of anything like robbery or anything like that before?
In Jersey, yes.
Okay. Were you like robbed like at a store, a gas station, or describe that to me?
We were selling tools out of the back of my car for some company, and we stopped at a stop sign. It was myself and two other girls who were doing it with me, and they entered the car and just took everything.
Who's they? Who did that to you?
I can't remember. It was a bunch of guys.
Okay.
That were in the neighborhood.
Did you able to get them reported? And they were
We reported it, but they never found them.
Okay. Did those guys ever harass you ever again or anything like that?
No, because it wasn't where I lived.
Okay. Have you ever been a victim of violence at your home that wasn't someone you knew, a random person coming and hurting you or something like that?
No.
Okay. Anyone's ever broken into your house before in New Jersey or in Michigan or in Florida or anything like that?
They broke into the house when we lived in Pompton Plains.
Where's that? Is that in New Jersey?
Yeah, this is up in Jersey.
And when you said they broke into, describe that to me. What happened?
It was a bunch of young kids that my brother knew. And he had a dirt bike and everything, so they stole his dirt bike and they stole some other stuff.
Sure. And were you home when that happened?
I believe so.
Okay. When you say you believe so, did they like sneak in the night and they went in the garage?
It was in the night and they went out into the shed.
They went out into the shed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Scott, I'm trying to understand. I know what happened to you this time. We just talked about that. I'm saying, has anything like this ever happened to you before where someone was trying to break into the house and hurt you or something?
No, not like this.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that's ever happened to you before. I just wanted to see if there was a similar experience. We talked about unreported sexual abuse. We talked about domestic violence. We talked about whenever you were robbed once of something by some men. And then there was something stolen out of a shed. Is that right in New Jersey? Yes. Okay. But then we're talking about what happened there today. And this woman that she passed away, you said that you guys have yelled at each other 3 or 4 times in about a year and a half to 2 years. Is that right?
Yes.
And the last time she yelled at you a lot. Did you ever I worked as a patrol deputy for years before becoming a detective. Did you guys ever get in like a fight in the street or anything like that? No, nothing like that.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm
sorry.
I gotta ask. I guess I don't know you that well.
No.
Did she ever brandish a weapon or anything like that, or something?
The only thing she ever did is she picked up the no trespassing sign and threw it at me and hit me.
Okay. And I know that the police came out a lot of times. Did the police ever come out for that time when she threw the sign?
Yeah, and then everybody in the neighborhood said, "Oh, we didn't see anything."
Okay.
So it was a he said, she said. So they said they couldn't charge anything.
Sure.
I'm like, all right.
And obviously you have a firearm. I haven't had a chance to ask you about this. Now, is that a gun that you've had for years? Or you just had it for a couple of weeks? Help me understand that.
No, over a year.
Okay, over a year. And where do you normally keep that secured in the house?
That's usually next. It was in a garbage can next to my bed.
Okay. And is it like?
Now that was the Remington that you're talking about that you got over a year ago?
Yes.
Okay, so when we were at the house, there was the other one, the 22 was a Ruger.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you had that firearm?
A few months.
Just a few months?
Yeah, not very long. And the only reason I did it is because it was so expensive to shoot the Remington.
Oh, the 380 rounds are expensive,
way more expensive. So I got the little plinker, just target practice and stuff like that.
Are you experienced with firearms? You got 2 guns, and it sounds like you have the little plinker, and you know about the price of ammo. Are you well versed with them?
I used to be terrified of firearms. And then a friend said, you really can't defend yourself. He said you should think about getting a gun.
Okay.
So,
when did you first get a gun? Was it or did you have other guns historically?
No, I never did.
Okay.
I first bought a 9mm, but it was just way too much gun for me, so I sold it. And then I got the little 380.
Okay. And did you go to any kind of training for those using guns, like going to the range, or tell me about that?
Went to the range, watched videos, all the other stuff, just self-educating, and I was going to go take a permit to carry course.
Sure.
And I didn't get around to it.
Yeah. Okay. So you were self-training yourself. You had plans to do that in the future, but it didn't come to that. So thank you for helping me understand that. And describe to me, AJ. You've only had these arguments with her a few times, but what I'm confused about is that we're talking about her banging on it 3 times, and then there's the pause, and there's everything else you just described in Detective Stiff. And you said that this was the time that she was going to come and kill you. That's confusing to me because it sounds like you guys really didn't have any other times that she was going to come and kill you?
No, she was saying she's going to kill me. I mean, she was verbalizing it. She was saying, I'm going to kill you.
Okay.
That's it's not like this is the time she's going to come and kill me.
So I'm trying to get into your mind, and I'm trying to be brought to that moment to why you believe that. And we were talking, you were in the bathroom, then you were in the kitchen. I mean, I know that she's saying something, and you're inside your house, and she's on the other side of that wall and that door. Were you able to ever see her to see if she had anything in her hands?
There's no people or anything.
There's no people, thanks. Okay. Were you able to look through a window or anything to see if she had anything in her hands or anything? Okay. So you don't know if what's going on, but you can hear her voice.
Yes.
And you said that she's hitting the wall hard enough that, was it the door?
Mirror.
That the mirror's moving.
Yes.
And she's hitting the door.
She's hitting the door.
Okay. There's no peephole or anything like that. You don't know who all's out there, but you can hear her voice.
Yes.
Okay. What made you shoot that spot on the door? It sounds like you had some experience with the gun, so bring me to that moment where what happened?
I grabbed the gun. I was shaking like a leaf, and the more she pounded, the more she screamed. I was like, stop, 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 go away, move away. She wouldn't move away. Finally, I'm going to kill you, and that was the last time, and I just fired the weapon.
Okay. Was there a spot you picked or something like that?
I just kind of, there was the door. I knew she was out the door. Shot.
So since the last time you and I talked, I went in the house. We, did the stuff inside the house as far as photographing, looking at where everything is at related to where the door is. And you said you had shot from the kitchen. So when you come in, it's
kitchen
like a
table.
kitchen table.
The table that's there, the two seats with the table.
Okay.
That's where I shot from.
That's where you shot from. Okay. Like right next to it?
Yes.
Or like further back?
It was. I remember the table being there.
Okay. How were you holding the gun when you fired it?
Like
With
that.
2 hands?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you were initially in the kitchen when, you went to the restroom and then you were in the kitchen looking for your phone while she was pounding on the door. And you said that you believe it was between 2 and 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Was that total time from when the first pounding started to the time that you fired the shot, 2 to 5 minutes? Or do you think it was shorter time than that or longer?
To me, it seemed like 2 to 5 minutes.
2 to 5 minutes
More,
total.
Well, by the time I shot the weapon, at least 5 minutes.
Okay.
So,
Did she ever try to open that glass sliding door or open the door handle or anything like that? Or was it just the pounding?
I just remember her pounding and pounding and pounding.
Okay. So you said that you kept the firearm in the trash can in the bedroom. So at some point, did you go?
Yes.
So you thought about it and said, I might need this, or?
Absolutely. I mean, I got terrified. I was so terrified she was going to come in and kill me.
Okay. So you left the kitchen area?
Yes.
And that's when you went to your bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. Where was the other gun at that time? Do you know?
I thought it was right there.
The Ruger?
I thought the Ruger was right there.
I mean, we found, yeah, it was, but you said that you used the 380, right?
Yeah.
When you fired the gun? Okay. Is there any reason why you chose that gun aside the other one? They were both loaded, right?
They were both loaded. It's just the one I picked up.
Okay. Did you handle the other gun at all?
I don't remember. Honest to God, don't remember.
Okay. Because the reason I asked is when we went in there, the 22 was actually on top of the 380. So, I'm just trying to figure out how it is that you went in there, took the 380, fired the 380, went back, and you would have put it back in there, but then the other gun was on top of it. So I'm just trying to figure out if maybe, you're just moving stuff around after things happened or something fell. I'm just trying to understand.
It may have fallen off the bed. I don't know. I just remember looking for my phone, and I just remember I put the gun back in. So, there's all kinds of papers in there, so it could have flip-flopped.
Is that an actual, do you use it for trash, or those important papers that were in there?
Those are papers that I keep.
Okay. All right. So you said it was about, let me ask you this, and maybe this can kind of help us get a better time frame. From the time that you called 911, these kids are on my property again, they're yelling, what happened that first 911 call? That time that you hung up with 911, how long before she showed up and she was pounding on the door after you hung up?
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So about 10 minutes after you disconnected and they said, hey, we have deputies on the way. 10 minutes after that is when she started pounding on your door. Okay. And you say anywhere, you believe from 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there And I just want to be clear, 2 to 5 minutes from the first time she pounded to the time where you felt in danger enough to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many times, I know this is, how many times do you think she was hitting your door during that time frame that you believe is about 2 to 5 minutes?
She just kept pounding it. Just kept pounding it and pounding it.
Just
more
screaming.
Than
5, more than 50? Like,
God, it had to be, I don't know. I can't even speculate. I just remember her pounding and pounding and screaming and yelling.
Okay. And did you call 911 immediately after?
As soon as I found my phone.
Okay. How much time do you think after you fired the shot?
A few seconds.
So within a minute?
Within a minute,
and you
yes.
immediately called 911?
Yes.
Did you call anyone else before?
No.
Did you call anyone else after?
No, I don't think so because you guys were here. I mean, you guys came right away.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
What's with the racial statements that everyone's saying that you made? I mean, have you ever used the N-word and they're using it against you? Have you said it in passing or something?
I have no idea. But it could have been I was speaking Hungarian and instead of English.
So you're native Hungarian? Is there?
My father was Hungarian, my mother was Polish, so we spoke mainly Hungarian in the household.
Okay. And is there? Have you ever spoke Hungarian to these kids or anything like that?
Yeah, and they looked at me and said, "Stop making up your language." I said, okay.
So let me ask you real quick. You know that we had your phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a judge actually signed an order to allow us to go into the phone and look over certain things that would assist in trying to identify the time frames of things that happened. And during the interviews where we were out there talking to other people who live in the neighborhood, they told us that there's been times where you go out and either create video, like record with videos or take photographs of what the kids are doing in your area out there.
Yes.
So you know how anybody could have a phone or a device that's recording. So you would imagine, I'm sure the kids have phones out in the neighborhood. A lot of them have tablets that record video. So when we talk to these people and we talk to them, they tell us something, but we have to kind of verify that. So we ask them the same questions. Do you have any video, audio, anything that would document as what you're saying is true? So when he's asking you questions like that, sometimes we have to ask questions that we already know the answers to. And it's not to try to trick someone. It's just to try to see how credible they are and how reliable their statements are. So when we ask them something that we already know the answer to, and if they answer us and it matches up, then some of the stuff that we're still trying to learn and put the pieces together to, we have more credibility and believe in that. Again, he was referring to some of the racial statements that have been alleged. Where does that come from? And like, is there something more? Like, did something happen in the past, or is that how you were raised, or is it just something because these kids are just always like
when I was 12 years
antagonizing
old,
you?
they're forever antagonizing me. When I was 12 years old, some girl in middle school thought I was some other girl. And it came down to where I was stuck in a phone booth, and at least 35 other people were around, all blacks. And so they ended up calling the police, and he had to disperse the crowd. Okay.
And what ended up happening then? I mean, anything?
I had to leave school early every day. I couldn't be around. I couldn't do any extracurricular activities. I just had to be very careful at school.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just, it was craziness.
So I'm sorry. How did that? I mean, you're kind of describing it. I could take a guess, but I mean, how did that make you feel towards your classmates? Did you have friends at that school?
Yes.
Okay. So you had people that you could confide to and be friends with, but you said that you had to be escorted to the bus or something like that?
No, I left 5 minutes early every day.
You had to leave early every day. Okay. And how old were you when that happened? 12. And I mean, it sounds like there's been some issues is that something that's caused problems with you for the rest of your life?
No.
No, that doesn't. Okay.
I don't believe so.
Okay. So we're just trying to figure out where some of these, we heard that you said the F word and the B word. These are what the kids are saying.
I definitely dropped F-bombs.
Okay. And what are you saying the F word to?
Pick your fucking shit up.
referring to stuff on the ground or something.
Mm-hmm.
And when we say the B word, what are you referring to that? Who are you talking to? What are you saying when you use that language?
B word.
Yeah, which I'm assuming is bitch, but I don't really know.
Okay.
Have you said that word to them?
Remember.
Or is it bastard? Possibly bastard?
I don't know, could have been either one.
Yeah.
Are those words that you've used when you're outside or around the kids or something like that?
I guess if they were really annoying me, I may have let one slip.
Okay.
You know.
And how would they really annoy you? Like just
Screaming. They
okay.
would scream.
The screaming and that would maybe let one slip. Okay.
But the girls would do something so stupid. I've never seen anything like this before. They would go face to face with one another and see who could scream louder.
Yeah.
5 feet outside my door. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, why? I want to see who screams louder. I'm like, take it over to your house.
Sure. Okay. So Detective Stith has been talking to you about the timeline, okay? And some of the work we've done. Now, this is a picture that I drew. I am not an artist at all, but when I tell you some of the work we've done, we spoke to all the people over. This is your house, by the way. Okay, this is. We'll put an S for you.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke to everybody in these buildings. We spoke to them all in these buildings, and we talked to anybody that had cameras that would see different areas. These cameras, they hear things. We're able to hear audio. We're able to hear things like that. And everyone that we interviewed, I pretty much got the same, Detective Stith, I think we all got the same statement from every single person we interviewed. We lined up, well, we didn't line them up. These people were interviewed in different locations. Some of them were interviewed in different buildings, in different places. I interviewed them at different houses, and all these people provided me similar statements, okay? No one that provided these, now these people could hear her talking. Okay, because she was talking loudly. You said that you could hear it through the wall, and I can agree with that. Okay, she made a statement, something to the effect of, "Why'd you take my kid's iPad?" Okay, somebody heard her say that.
I never touched an iPad. I never saw the iPad. I don't know what this iPad is about.
A tablet or something like that?
Again, no tablet, no iPad, no electronics at all. It was never there, or at least I never saw it.
Okay.
So I have no idea.
Was she, maybe she's wrong, but was she asking you about a tablet or accusing you of something with a tablet or an iPad? I don't know if it's an iPad or a tablet. She could have?
She could have.
Okay. You seem unsure of some of the stuff she's saying through the door. Did she say, you're not really sure if she said that?
She could have said it during her rants.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's saying these things. The thing is everything that we've learned so far, I have not learned of her ever saying to you that she wanted to get into the house. It sounded more like she wanted to talk to you outside of the house.
How do you want to talk to outside the house when you're banging and screaming?
Yeah.
That's not reasonable.
One of the people said that she said, "Come outside."
That's not, I'm sorry.
Come
That's
out.
not what?
It's not reasonable and prudent. I mean, you just don't, bang and expect someone to come out. Yeah, I think I'll come outside so you can,
Well, I know.
Seriously.
What she's learned, what I'm learning, what these people have said is that she was saying to come outside. She wanted to confront you about something. She wanted you to come outside. Do you remember her making statements and asking you to come out there and talk to her?
I honestly don't recall.
Okay, so you don't remember that, and you seem unsure about some of the statements she made about the tablet. No one that we've interviewed so far has made any statements about her saying that she wanted to kill you.
That's what I heard.
Okay. You said you were so in fear and you're shaking. Is your memory affected regarding this incident in some way?
I just remember being terrified that she was banging and screaming, and I just remember hearing her say, "I'm going to kill you." Her son, earlier in the night, before I called the police, I don't know how old he is, but he said, "I'm going to make sure you get killed tonight."
Which son? She has two sons.
I know. I don't remember. It was one of her sons, but he was there. He's like, "I'm going to make sure you get killed. I'm going to make sure that you know." And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Has this person ever shown you a weapon or anything like that?
No, but I mean, the little kid said it, and then all of a sudden his mom's coming over and she's banging and screaming. And
now I asked you this earlier. You said you can't see out there, but you've only seen her a few times.
Mm-hmm.
What means does she have to harm you through the wall?
Like I said, she was banging so much, everything was shaking and moving.
Now that house,
Which I couldn't believe because it's a cement block house.
That was my next question. So it's a cement block house, and the door, the deadbolt was activated, right?
The deadbolt was activated,
okay.
right? And you just didn't have the chain lock?
I don't I was going to say, I remember I didn't have the chain. I'm not quite sure if I had the deadbolt on or not.
Okay. I believe the last time we talked, you said you had the deadbolt, but you didn't want to get back close to the door to do the chain, is from what I recall. And you said you had the extra long deadbolt just installed. Recently?
Charles did it.
Okay, Charles.
So that's what the deadbolt's activated, the door's closed, it's a block house. I'm just trying to understand what made you so in fear of this woman if you have these things between you.
When we had spoken previously on the other time she screamed at me and I finally acquiesced. I said, whatever you want, I'm so sorry. She followed me a foot behind me up until I went into the house. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, she gave me the creeps.
What happened during that incident where she followed you? What was the conversation?
She said, "Oh, you called my kids. I can't remember. I think and a slave or something stupid like that." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever. Yes, I'm sorry. I apologize." And I finally said, "I'm going to leave this alone. I don't need, to get killed in the street."
Did she tell you if she had recordings of you saying that?
I have no idea.
One of the kids?
I have no idea.
But you apologized and she continued to follow you anyway?
Yeah, she followed me anyway.
How far did she follow you?
Like right up to where I go in by the wood.
By the fence?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
She finally just went away.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
That was like a month or two ago.
Okay. And was that an incident dealing with she had the dog and the kids were over there? No, that was something different? Okay. And I think that was, I want to say, was it April? Does that sound right? With the you had called because, again, the kids were over there, the dog was over there. Does that sound about right? Okay. But that was a different incident than what you're talking about. Yes. And where were you at when you had that conversation where she started following you? Where were you?
I was in the street.
Okay. Like by the mailboxes or?
No. I was close to her driveway.
Close to her driveway. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did she make any threats of physical violence to you then?
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember.
Okay.
She was following you and that made you feel creepy, right? Or creeped you out, I think is the word you said?
Yeah.
Okay. But there wasn't any threats of physical violence then. And you said...
why would you, if the conversation is over, why would you still pursue someone? I mean, to me...
Was she still saying things? Was she still...
No,
talking?
She just followed me. And I just felt like, at any point in time, she could knock me down and do something. And I was like, oh, my God. And I didn't want to tangle with her anymore.
Mm-hmm. And was it only her kid that you called a slave, or was there other kids in the neighborhood?
I never called anyone a slave.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said sorry for it.
I said I'm sorry for it because I didn't know how else to diffuse the situation.
Okay, so you told her that you did say that, but you're saying that you were saying it to diffuse the situation?
Yes, absolutely.
So have you ever called any of those kids?
Never called them a slave. Never.
You never said anything about this not being an underground railroad?
An underground railroad comment or something like that was mentioned?
No.
We did so many interviews.
Jesus Christ, no.
There was a statement like that made.
All right, that's new to me. I mean, it's completely new to me. I don't know where the hell that came from.
So, Susan, I'm looking at this from the outside here, and this really is not adding up to me. You used the word reasonable and prudent earlier. That's an interesting series of words to use. That's like a series of words that we use as law enforcement officers when we try to look at things. And there's a big jump here that you're making logically I can't seem to make the jump. I'm having a really hard time getting there. You've known this woman for 1.5 to 2 years. Your only communications were 2 to 3 times. The dog's pooping, and then there was another time where you called her. You said, "I'm sorry" about calling your kids some names, and she followed behind you. You thought that was creepy. She's never threatened you. She's never displayed a firearm towards you. She starts yelling on your patio area, banging hard on your door, which your door is locked, and then you're scared. Now you're saying that you're scared, which, okay, I can get to that. I can get to that point that you're scared. There's someone knocking on your door.
No, it wasn't knocking. It was pounding.
Pounding. There's someone pounding on your door. Right. There's someone pounding on your door. They're pounding on your door, and I can't get to the point where pounding on the door leads to you being hurt or killed. I can't get that.
Because I thought she was going to break the door down. The door, you could see that it was all repaired and re-repaired and all that crap like that. So I never felt that door was secure.
You have an extended deadbolt, and you've never been in any kind of violent situation where someone's kicked in your door or like Kool-Aid Man through your entire wall. There has not been that situation. So I'm trying to do the reasonable and prudent. I'm trying to come into your shoes there, and I'm having a hard jump there because describe to me, AJ, what does she look like?
Tall black woman, heavy set,
Okay. Does she have a very muscular? You've only known her for a year and a half. You only had so many communications. I mean, is she like a muscular person that's able to like, I don't know, do extreme feats of strength? Does she weight train in her front yard? Help me understand this.
No, I don't.
That's what I'm trying. I'm having a hard time with
He's
this.
not being facetious. He's just trying to understand how we got from the point of someone
creepy.
But
She's gonna get through the wall is where I can't get there. I don't understand. What if, and I was thinking about this earlier, what if the police officer had already arrived and she is loud and she's still yelling, and now the officer's standing in front of the door and he does some knocks, but she's still on that darn patio yelling, and you're shooting, you can't see, there's no peephole, there's no window, there's nothing, and then you shoot, and what if the darn officer was on the other side of the door? You see what I mean? And obviously she's still running her mouth, she's still going. But you don't know what's on the other side of that door.
Hopefully he would have introduced himself.
I sure hope so. I mean, and that's what some of the issues are, that I can't get there, and I don't understand entirely what was going on in your mind, and I don't see how that is entire. Were you on alcohol or anything like? I gotta ask these questions. Were there anything in your mind that would impair yourself in your judgments?
I took Bodycam earlier in the day.
What is that?
It was for my back.
Okay, is that a narcotic?
Yes.
I'm not a muscle relax. I'm guessing here.
No, it's a pain reliever.
Okay, it's a pain reliever.
Mm-hmm.
And does that have like something on the bottle that it would?
It's a film.
Okay. Does that like don't use motor vehicles or something like that? What does it do to you? How does it make you feel?
It just makes me sleepy.
It's called, what is it called?
Belbuca.
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 Okay.
Does that have to do with your artery issue in your kidney?
No, I had a car wreck. So I had a fusion on my lower back. Fusion in my neck, and then laminectomy in my lower back.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got this knee that goes backwards. So I have some issues.
Okay.
And I have a torn rotator cuff.
Okay. And do you have issues with any kind of previous, from the car accident, I have to ask, a head injury which would impair your memory or affect your memory or anything like that?
I don't remember. I think I hit my head on the steering wheel from the accident.
Okay. Do you suffer time and spatial memory issues where you can't remember certain amounts of time and things like that? And the reason that I asked that is you have indicated that this was somewhere between like 5 to 10 minutes or something. Am I getting that right, Detective Stiff? Okay. From the cameras that we've looked at in the area here, this incident did not last for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, from the people that we spoke to, there's aspects of this that I can agree about. She's talking loud. She's banging on that door. We're going to agree with that. But the actual number of knocks, you did 3 knocks, and then you said there was a pause.
I never said 3.
Well, you said bang, 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 and then she stopped, which I counted 3. Now, okay. If there was something different, you can tell me. I was remembering earlier. You said bang, bang, bang. There was 3. Then she stopped, and then she continued to, and then what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing has led me to believe as an investigator that it was like 5 to 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay. Maybe it just seemed like it was longer.
Okay.
Probably because, the adrenaline rush and just getting so upset.
Sure. Whenever adrenaline comes in, it can make things seem like they stretch out. From some of the other statements, we've got some of the things that we've learned. It sounds more like there was 3 knocks and then there was 3 more and then she was shot. It sounds like this was very quick. It sounds like this was like within a span of less than 20 seconds is what I would say. Is it possible that your time is off on this?
It could be.
Okay.
Because to me, it felt like forever.
Okay.
So
if this is like what's being described as a 20-second, this is a brief encounter. It's a brief encounter with loud banging, with loud yelling. The statements that some of the statements that you're saying occurred, like I'm going to kill you and those kind of threats. No one else has heard you. No one else has heard her make those statements. Okay. I'm worried that some of the prior experiences you've had in your life that we've talked about today, they are traumatic experience. violence against you when you were a kid, all those people coming and trying to get you, that there's something going on in your head. Are you not sure about some of the things we've talked about today regarding some of the things you're saying that you heard? Is it possible she never threatened you at all?
No, I swear to God, I thought she said, I'm going to kill you. I mean, that's why I just panicked. As soon as those words came out of her mouth, I was like, Jesus Christ, she's going to kill me.
Okay. And how did you imagine yourself being killed? Remembering that there's that block wall, that door, how was she going to be able to do that? What makes you think that she was able to do that?
She was still pounding, but that she could have come right through that glass wall. I mean, the glass door.
Well, we talked about pounding on the door. Did she ever pound on the glass wall? Is it a window or wall? Help me.
It's doors. It's sliders.
Glass sliding door.
Yeah.
She pound on that?
She may have. I don't know. Well, I kept thinking that she's going to gain entrance. She's going to kill me.
And that's why I asked you earlier if you recalled if she tried to. Was that door locked? The sliding glass door?
Yeah.
Was that safe? Do you have like anything?
I had I think there was a wood piece in there.
The slider.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't recall if she tried that door?
I just remember lots of pounding.
Lots of pounding.
You know, just to me, it was just an enormous amount of pounding, screaming, yelling, and I felt like she was going to come through that door.
And I think Detective Pender touched on it. Like in your head, what during the panic, during all these thoughts, what did you feel that was going to happen?
And she's going to come in there and beat the shit out of me until I was dead.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I felt. I mean, I don't understand why she came over my house. If there was all these issues and problems, why didn't she just call somebody? That's, to me, that's what you would do if you're normal. That's a normal thing to do. If something happens to me, I call the police. Like, okay, the kids are being run or she's banging and, but when I couldn't find my phone and everything, I was just like, shit. I honestly, I felt she was going to kill me.
Okay, so during that time you had hung up with 911, you still estimate approximately 10 minutes before the banging started.
Yes.
And then you saying anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes or longer that the banging and the yelling lasted. However, as Detective Pender mentioned, we've reviewed video. Mm-hmm. We've talked to multiple people out there who all kind of give the similar. I mean, everybody's perspective is different, mm-hmm. and that's why I asked you this same question a couple of times, because people's perspectives, we could be both looking at the same thing, mm-hmm. and later on you asked us the same question. We have different reactions, different answers, mm-hmm. because we focus on different things, we remember different things. That's why everybody's unique, and that's just the way it is. But to be that similar in some of the specifics of what we're really looking mm-hmm. at, we're talking about a very tight, a much more tighter time frame of this incident that happened at your front door before that shot was fired. So is that possible? Is that feasible that it was a shorter time frame?
To me, it felt. I mean, I'm giving you what I felt and what I thought it was.
Okay.
All right. Now that you're out of the moment,
mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think that she could somehow get through that wall now that you're out, now that you're not in the house anymore, and that
I still feel that fear. I just still feel she was coming at me. I'm sorry. It's what I feel.
Okay.
I've just, it's been playing in my head over and over again, and I just kept thinking of that and how terrified I was.
Was your goal to shoot and kill her?
No.
What was your goal?
To shoot and hopefully, she'd hear the shot and dissipate.
But you took aim at the door, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And the goal was to strike the door and to dissipate it. I'm having a really hard time making this jump here that this unarmed person on the other side of the wall is somehow gonna get in your house and kill you. I'm just really having a hard time getting there. I've been doing this job as a homicide investigator for several years, and mm-hmm. I've seen houses that are made out of like pretty much paper mache. Okay, mm-hmm. Doors that are so thin, like balls of wood you could just push through. And this is a block house with a solid door. I've seen cases before where there is an angry spouse and let me back in the house. You can't throw me out, and they'll kick the wall as hard as they can. And they're not getting in some of these doors open inwards, outwards. I don't know which way your door opens. Which way does it open? It opens outward?
I think it opens out.
Okay. So
It
opens inwards.
It opens inwards. Okay. So they work on these doors and they're not even able to make entry, and they just give up. And I'm really having a hard time understanding like how if you could go back in time, would you not do what you did? Would you take it back and I don't know, wait however long it took for the police to get there? I'm trying to understand that. Do you feel like you did something wrong here?
I did what I felt I had to. I honest to God thought she was going to kill me. I mean, that's all I felt. I just felt that terror. I mean, it was sheer terror.
So I went out to the house that morning, when I met you out there, and I tested the door. First of all, I looked at the door. We processed the door just to see what areas might have been touched by AJ. I looked at the door frame where it had been repaired. It looked like there was a type of putty or something used where the wood frame had been separated. I examined the deadbolt lock. The strike plates were in there pretty fastened, pretty securely. The bottom lock, just the doorknob lock. And even with the door closed, I stood on the outside. There were no indentations, no dents in the door anywhere that I could see. And I pounded on the door pretty hard. And that was with the door unlocked completely. There was no lock secured, and that door was very sturdy. I'm not trying to take away the fears of being scared and everything, because I think that is a legitimate, scary situation to be put in. But to justify to go from being scared to a point where you're taking deadly force on someone who's standing on the other side of the door and you don't even know where you're shooting at. That's a big jump, and I think that's where Detective Penders.
It could have been one of the kids standing there or something.
But it was her standing there. I mean, I heard her voice.
Sure, but some people don't talk. They're more quiet.
Regardless of that fact, as I was saying, to go from that, and I didn't even have any locks, and I'm pounding on it. And yes, there were our forensic technicians were inside looking, and yes, things were vibrating. But they also stated that the door didn't seem like it was going to move, and it barely budged, even with the door unlocked. So, and that's why it's important for us to go through these things to try to determine, to try to put ourselves in your position, in your mind at that time as much as possible. But to get that, help us try to understand that a little bit more, to get to that point from a fairly secure door, because like he said, it's true. We've gone to some of these trailers where you can pretty much push the door open, and
that's not your house. Your house is pretty secure. That landlord did a good job, I guess, keeping everything secure. It looked like everything was good. So you've never had a break in there before, right? Okay, no break-ins there. There's the rod in the track. Did you have? I know that you spoke to this woman 2 or 3 times before. Did you speak to her earlier that day on Friday?
No.
Okay, so you didn't talk to her earlier that day, Friday. There wasn't. Did you have any conflicts with anybody in particular on Friday at all?
Just the kids when it wasn't a conflict. I just told them, come on, stop trespassing. Move along. Kids kept putting things out. They had marbles by my truck. They put their skates out. I tripped over the skate one morning that I had to leave very early, and I'm like, crap. And I'm like, stop leaving your freaking toys here. I'm not the most stable person, with my knees and stuff like that. When I'm walking, if I fall again, who the hell knows what's going to happen between my back and my knees and, the other injury. And I don't understand why they just keep leaving their crap there. And I'm like,
That sounds frustrating.
It's extraordinarily frustrating.
You said there was a skate. Was there something that happened with the skate on Friday?
When the kids were there, they keep leaving the skates really close to the house. I'm like, stop already, because when you go around and you do stuff and you're bringing packages in, sometimes I bring the truck up. I'm like, I don't want to walk over your skates and shit. I'm like, pick your damn shit up. So
where were those skates when you picked them up?
I want to say they were maybe 5-6 feet of the sidewalk.
On the grass?
Yes.
Okay. And You took some photograph or took a photograph of that with your phone?
Yes.
Okay. And there was a video at some point. It looked like you were taking a picture or a video through the screen from you being inside
Yes.
to them outside.
Mhm.
Is that around the time frame that you shot them the bird or something along those lines? Maybe not right. Okay.
Probably.
Okay. Because it looked like there was a bunch of them kind of further out in the field, but there was a lot of kids playing out there, and I guess
the screaming. You heard
Yeah,
how much
yeah.
they were screaming over the
Yeah.
TV.
Okay, so when you went out there, and one of AJ's kids was out there, and this is around the time frame where you threw the skates out into the yard or something
Yes.
like that. But this is also that was what was reported to us from a few people.
Yes.
But also during that time frame was where that tablet situation came up. So is there any reason?
I don't know what this tablet thing is.
It's like an Amazon tablet, electronic tablet.
I never saw the tablet. Never. He kept saying, "Where's my tablet? Where's my tablet?" I had
Oh, so he did ask you about it, but you didn't have it.
Of course not.
So you never.
I
moved
never
it or
saw
picked
it,
up?
never picked it, never touched it up. Nothing.
Why would he make that part up if
I have no idea.
Because he said, and it really doesn't change.
Doesn't change.
It doesn't change anything.
Helps
I'm
us
just trying to
understand
understand. He said that he was going to the basketball courts after they played in the field. And he's like, I forgot my tablet, and he comes over and he sees you holding it, and he says, "Put it down."
No.
And you kind of tossed it down, and then that's when you threw the skates, and one of them hit him in the toe or the foot or something like that.
No, because they were standing here and I threw it with my left hand.
Okay.
I made sure that I didn't. I just threw them over to the other side. Never
And that's
touched
when you
each
told
other.
him to fetch or something?
Yes.
You told him to
I
fetch
said, "You
it?
can go fetch it over there now."
Okay.
Because he said, "Give me my skates."
Mm-hmm.
Get your skates. I'm like, "Here, go get them."
You already had them in your hand at that point? Or
I
he said,
think
give them
so.
to you? Okay. What were you going to do with them?
Just throw them on the other side. Just get them away.
But you don't remember the tablet or anything
It
like
was
that?
never a tablet. I never saw a tablet, never touched a tablet. I don't know where the hell the tablet came from. So I have no idea.
And then the situation with the umbrella. I know we had talked about it a little bit before, but do you remember who that was out there when? Was that when? Excuse me. Was that when the older AJ's older came over? What was he saying to you?
That's when he has said, I said, "You guys need to leave." He said, "I don't need to leave. I can be anywhere I want. I have, I forget what the hell he said. Just something to the effect that I have no limits where I can go." I'm like, okay.
Okay, but he wasn't the one that was there when you tossed the roller skates into the yard. It was the other child.
It
Or do
should
you
have been
remember?
both boys.
Were they both there with the roller
Let's say,
skate thing?
yeah.
Okay, so when you came out, the umbrella that was behind your door, was that the one?
Yes.
Okay, and what exactly happened with that? Because that's another one of those things where we were talking to people who were right there. Kind of, they already heard some yelling and back and forth, so they're kind of watching and
I may have been talking with my hands. So
swinging the umbrella.
yeah, just come on, guys, leave. And
Okay.
gesturing. So
How
I
far away were they when you were doing this,
Oh
and
my
where do you
gosh.
think you were at?
I remember being on the sidewalk, and then they were at least 5-7 feet away from me.
Okay.
They weren't even close.
What did they do when you were swinging it around?
Nothing.
They didn't do anything?
No, there was no reaction.
They didn't say anything? They didn't back away?
I honestly don't recall.
Okay.
It didn't rain on Friday. Why did you have an
I
umbrella?
thought it was raining. We had precip, and I thought when the kids got quiet that it rained finally, and they went home.
So that's why you had the umbrella out?
Yes.
So it sounds like there's a lot of things going on with the kids that day. It sounds like you're taking videos, and then there was a middle finger towards this guy. It sounds like the skates are in the way. You had to throw those because she says, "Give me the skates." You throw the skates, and then you're swinging the umbrella because they're not getting away. There's a lot going on with the kids. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Are the kids yelling that day?
Oh, they were screaming and yelling.
Screaming and yelling. Okay. It sounds like there was things going on with them, and then one of the kids' moms comes up to your house and knocks on the door. Is that right? Did she say what she was knocking on the door about? I don't remember if we covered that.
The AJ? Yes.
Yes, AJ. Was it about the umbrella or the skates or something different? Because
I
there's a
want to
lot.
speak to you because you're talking to my sons. I don't like the way you're talking to my sons.
Okay, so she bangs on the door and she wants to, because we've talked about all the things that happened that day. She's banging on the door and she wants to address you regarding how you're talking to her sons.
Yes.
And there's already been that prior incident in the 2 or 3 times that you guys met, and one of those times it was you're talking to her sons and you're saying like racial things like that, racial slurs.
I didn't say racial slurs.
She said that you did.
She said that I did.
Okay. So it sounds like she has a reason that she wants to talk to you, and she's banging on your door.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But she's enraged, she's screaming, she's not acting to me what would be like a normal, average, everyday, reasonable person. I mean, to me, that was someone who was really angry.
You're for certain that when you went to retrieve your gun, that's where you keep it in that trash can? That's where it was at? I'm sorry, did you remember what you were thinking about?
Susan, real quick here. Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental health issues, depression, bipolar disorder?
No.
Have you ever had to go to a mental health facility?
No.
Have you ever sought therapy for anything?
Yes.
What have you sought therapy for? For the okay. And is that something you attended as a child, or something you've attended later on in your life, or something like that?
I was like 20 years old.
Okay. And when you were seeking therapy, what were you trying to heal? What were you trying to fix? Aside from the sexual abuse, was there something psychologically that happened to you?
I just shut down.
You just shut down?
Yeah, I wasn't feeling any emotions or anything like that.
Okay.
I just had no emotion whatsoever. It was just flat effect.
Okay. Did therapy help you with that?
Yes.
And then later on in life, you had a friend that was buried and the breathing in the dirt and then the screaming.
That
and then
happened before the therapy.
And then I remember one of the words you heard was that causes you to be triggered whenever you hear screaming.
And the reason why I say triggered is I worked at the guest house
Uh-huh.
where they do therapy and stuff, so just picked up some of the words as I was working there.
Sure. So when you say triggered, how does that make you feel? What does that do to you?
It just makes me feel horrible.
Horrible. What is that like? What is that feeling? Is it a feeling inside your body? Describe that to me more.
Just absolutely horrible. Like I'm sick.
The screaming makes you feel
Yes.
sick. Okay. Does this sick feeling, does this triggered feeling ever make you do things that you wouldn't normally do? Say things you wouldn't normally say, act in ways you wouldn't normally act because of some trauma that you had?
I was going to say, I don't know.
You're not sure? Do you ever sometimes feel as if you get so upset about something, crying, angry, or something like that, that it overwhelms you? That you get overcome with emotion? Does anything like that ever happen to you?
Just trying to think. The only time was with death, but I figured that was normal emotions.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes whenever people get picked on and they get yelled at and they hear yelling and things like that with you, they say things and they do things they don't mean. They see red. That's what some people say. They see red. And I wasn't myself, detective. And they say things like that to me. And I'm trying to understand if some of these kids have triggered you and made you do things and say things that isn't you, is not Susan, is not the person that's sitting in front of me. Do you ever feel like anything like that ever happens to you?
The kids definitely just make me feel, sick. I mean, they just, they call me grandma. They call me Karen. I'm trying to think. They've said horrible things. The other thing was, I'm trying to think of some kind of stupid infection. I can't remember what the hell it was.
Do you say horrible things back that you wouldn't normally, that you're not proud of?
Absolutely. So I just, stop. It's like, stop.
I didn't ask you this before, but I saw inside you have it's almost a home office set up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you work from home?
Yes.
You do? So you're always there and you're always
Yes.
having to be
Mm-hmm.
susceptible to whatever
Exactly.
they do. And now it's summertime.
Yeah,
Everyone's
it's
in
a
school.
nightmare. But I'm very pragmatic. I'm like, if you see the stuff up here and this is my front door, why do you keep coming by my front door screaming and yelling? And they're like, doesn't matter. You don't matter. I had a little black kid come up to me and said, "You're white, you're old, you have no one in your life, you're not worth anything." So I'm like, great.
What did you tell that person?
I told him we're always alone. Guess what? You come in the world alone and, you leave the world alone.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when you say that, it sounds like you handled that well. When you say that you've said things before that you're not proud of, describe that to me.
I shouldn't have called them names. I shouldn't have said bitch or fuck, or I should have reined it in a little.
Okay. And then when we talk about racial slurs, have you made those not to anyone in particular? You've just spoken to the air. You've spoken to other people, because there's been multiple different ways that we've kind of been learning about you saying these things. Describe that to me and specifically.
In regards to?
Words like the N-word that you've said. Describe that to me specifically when you've said that.
I can't remember if I said it or if I didn't say it.
You sound unsure.
Whether it's out of anger or, I mean,
I don't know.
someone's calling you names and you can become kind of overwhelmed with, you're having to hear this kind of thing all the time. And like you said, you might say something that you normally wouldn't say.
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
So I've noticed there's been some gaps in your memory, and that's why I've asked you about your memory, because some of the specific things that I asked, specifically this, you say, I'm not sure, I don't remember. And that's happened a couple times while we've been talking today. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to better understand that as why you don't remember some of these things, specifically what's going on. I don't know if it's something you feel shameful or embarrassed about. I don't want you to feel that way while we're talking. I'd rather you just be honest with me. Mm-hmm. But that's why I've been asking you some of those things. Is there any reason why anybody would have any video or anything like that of you saying like the N-word? Is there any reason why someone would have that?
I have no idea. And if I did let it go, I'm sorry. I could have slipped out.
Be honest with, what context would it slip out, do you think? I mean, what would happen for you to say something like that?
If they were being extraordinarily rude, or if they were just, I was always taught the N-word meant that you were just being unlawful, dirty, just, I don't know, generally not being pleasant.
Okay.
And that's only because, again, Dad was Hungarian, Mom was Polish, and it came up in the conversation. So they asked me to go to my friend Sheila and ask her, what does the N-word mean? And her mom said, no, it just means that someone who doesn't work, someone who is not productive, someone who is not, acting normally, lawfully.
Sure. So. Okay. And in the times that you...
I'm sorry. I think there's just like a lot of other words that are, I believe, out there to describe those things as well. I mean, what is it in particular about that word or slave boy?
I never said slave boy. I never said the word slave. Never.
Okay.
So I don't know why you keep coming back to this.
Well, that's just
someone had mentioned, and like I said,
no, never. Never uttered the word.
Did you use the word slave or
absolutely not.
Something like that? Is there any reason why anybody would have a video like that? Is there any reason why that would exist?
No, there shouldn't be. Shouldn't be anything like that.
Okay. Yeah,
the Underground Railroad comment again. Remember, there's people out there.
I never made an Underground Railroad comment.
Okay.
So I don't know where the hell that came from.
Look, I kind of want to go through my notes real quick, make sure that we covered everything. We covered a lot of things. Can I get you another water or anything while I go through this? Okay. Yeah, let me go through the notes and make sure we didn't miss anything here. And we'll be right back in.
Okay. Is there anything else that you need right now? Use the restroom or anything? Use the restroom? Okay, give me just 1 second. Make sure the restroom's clear.
Please, thank you.
Absolutely. Okie dokie.
Were you able to go to the bathroom?
Yes.
All right. So while we were in there going over everything, and my supervisor came in, he's actually kind of been listening a little. And something that caught my ear, like when we were talking earlier, you had mentioned the words, and I asked you to repeat it because I wanted to make sure I heard you correctly. You had mentioned terminology like reasonable and prudent in reference to how AJ was acting at your door while she was trespassing and everything. Where did that come from, that terminology? Is that
Watching TV.
watching TV? Okay. Like documentary stuff, or like what?
Probably just crime shows and stuff.
Crime shows? Okay. And I have to ask you this, have you done any research on like the laws as far as like in Florida, as far as self-defense and things like that?
I looked at it today.
You looked at it today?
When I was on Facebook. Just some things that, they had it up on Facebook.
So describe that. What did you, specifically, what you were reading about and learning about?
They said self-defense, and I'm trying to think what the hell else I looked at today. So much crap. Mostly emails. But I just remember saying self-defense, and there was a bunch of lawyers and stuff like that.
So prior to today, even the last time that you and I spoke on very early Saturday morning, you had used some of that same kind of terminology in describing the situation that occurred at your front door. Prior to today, had you ever done any kind of research like that? And before I ask, let me just say, if we were to look through everything in your phone or your home desktop computer, is there anything kind of research on your internet history that would show that you've done research on like self-defense? Or have you ever heard of the term stand your ground?
Yes.
Have you ever done any kind of research on that?
Yes, when it was mentioned on some guy shot someone at a convenience store, and they said stand your ground laws.
Was that like a Florida situation? Because I know every state has kind of different laws.
I think it was Florida. I'm hoping it was Florida.
Okay. And when was that?
God, years ago.
It was years ago?
Yeah, that was a years ago thing.
So nothing recent that would be on like your internet browser history?
I just looked it up today.
Right, but I mean other than basically before this incident occurred at your door, but we're not talking like a couple years ago. We're talking about within the last few months. Would there be, because your internet browser, even if you delete it or you go on private browser, if we take a look at those things, because we did go through your phone, the judge signed an order for us to be able to do that. He agreed that there was reasonable enough evidence to be able to do that. Okay. So if that were the case, if we were just to look through that, would there show anything that you were looking up, stand your ground or self-defense laws in Florida on the internet?
I don't know. I look up tons of stuff.
Is it a possibility that you looked that up?
Could have been. I don't know.
Okay.
I look up.
And the reason I ask is
I just go and see why the laws were. So I want to know why. Like if they have an article, what happened in the situation? What? Well,
Susan, I think you know the reason why I'm asking that question. You're smart, okay, and the reason is.
Oh hell no. Absolutely. I know what you're thinking. Did I look up the laws so I could do something? No, absolutely
this is not a situation where you set something up because you were tired of this person. You were tired of the situation that they put you in.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, no.
Okay, so while I was out there going through the notes and everything, I went through so when someone calls 911, as soon as that call goes to our communication center, it logs it, gives us a timestamp, hour, minute, second from the very first time that call was received to the time that it's disconnected, okay? And that's for every single time someone calls. So the first time when you called 911 talking about the boys out there trespassing and things of that. So that call started at 8:54 p.m. Does that sound about right?
Yes. I really wasn't looking at the clock or anything. I just remember calling.
That's what time it says on our call center. And that call lasted for 5 minutes and it disconnected. At 8:59, deputies are on the way. Okay. Now, you estimated that it was approximately 10 minutes after you disconnected until the AJ started pounding on your door. Is that correct? Is
yes.
that what? Okay. So the second 911 call where you called, lady was banging on my door, I shot her through the door. That call came into our call center. It was received at 9:01, which is 2 minutes after you hung up with the communication center the first time. So that's 2 minutes that all these things that you say occurred happened at your front door. From pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding, I'm going to kill you, all these things. Within 2 minutes, she showed up at your front door and did all these things to the time that you pulled the trigger, went and found your phone, and then called 911. So, and that's why I'm trying to get
To me, it seemed like that amount of time. That's why I thought it was that amount of time.
Well, so clearly we've established that that was not true, that,
Okay,
that's not the
understood.
case, but that's what you felt it was.
It
So
felt
you
like
also
that.
told me that that's what you heard, that she was
Yes.
going to kill you. Is it possible that she did not say that and that's what you heard or you believed, just like you believed it was 10 minutes between those calls?
I just thought she said, I'm going to kill you. I mean, that's what I heard. That's why I was so in fear of my life. I was like, Jesus Christ, and she's pounding on my door. She's going to break in. She's going to kill me.
But is it a possibility? If you believe that there was 10 minutes to 15 minutes, adding in 10 minutes before it started, and then approximately another 5 minutes on top of that, that you believe that 2 minutes was 15 minutes, was it a possibility that maybe you thought you heard that, but it wasn't that what she actually said?
I have no idea. That's what I heard.
Okay.
I'm telling you what I heard.
So, Susan, we've talked enough that I've come to a conclusion here. Everything that I've learned, okay, and I see this on a scale here. Detective Stiff had brought up, you are Susan. Are you the Susan that has done research on Stand Your Ground and has planned for this to happen? Was planning for this to happen? There's a spectrum here. Is this the Susan over here, and then there's also could be a Susan over here that was, I have a gun in the house. I'm scared. Someone is knocking on the door. I'd like them to go away. I'm just gonna, I picked up the gun and I accidentally shot the gun. There's a Susan somewhere in the world like that. You've somehow found a spot in the middle where you're trying to explain this, but it doesn't actually make any sense. That within 2 minutes, because we know it's 2 minutes, within 2 minutes, this person came over and they were able to put down a series of statements such as, and you said this, that they came right up to and they want to have a discussion with the way that you were treating their kids that day. You said that they were able to make that sentence. I want to talk to you about the kids. I'm banging on the door. I want to talk to you about the kids. They're making statements like that. We've interviewed other people that it was a very brief interaction and then you shot them. Now, this wasn't a long siege. It wasn't a castle siege. It didn't last for 20, 30 minutes. It was 2 minutes. So you're trying to tell us that a reasonable person would shoot somebody for less than 2 minutes of making statements outside. That doesn't make any sense. So that I have to look on the scale here. Where is Susan? Did she plan this? Is she a cold-blooded killer that plans things? Was this an accident? Or was this something that got out of hand? Is it somewhere in the middle? That makes more sense. Not what Susan's telling me. Is it somewhere in the middle? Because I know that I talked to Detective Stiff. We kind of went through your first interview. And in that first interview, you had even said to the kids, you know what, go get your mom.
No, I didn't.
You said something along the lines as when they said, I'm going to go get my mom, you said, go get her.
Go get her. Which is fine. I want to talk to an adult too. I don't want to talk to a kid.
I remember saying that.
And so this has happened a few times during our interview also. You have these, I don't remember. There's been a couple times that you don't remember. And these are important things to remember. And you're not able to remember them. I believe that you do remember them, and that worries me. That makes me feel like you're not telling us it because you are that you are Susan, the person that is planning. I'm just trying to figure out who's sitting in front of me here. Yeah. Is it over here? I've been planning this. I picked up the gun and I was waiting for her to come over because it was very quick. It was 2 minutes. Or it was, I had the gun in my hand and I made a mistake, but now I've dug my heels in and I've made these statements so far to Detective Stiff about a mistake I made and I feel like I can't go back. I don't want to feel like you're at a point that you can't go back. We are all human. And I'm going to tell you this, 99% of the people that sit in front of me in this room, they do not tell me the truth like the entire time. But then we get to a point where I show them that everything they're saying actually doesn't make any sense. And I always tell them, I say, look, we want to go the path of least resistance. We don't want to go down the path of embarrassment or humiliation or I made a mistake. They don't want to do that, but I show them everything. And they say, you know what? And I don't hold it against them. I don't take anything personally. If you had said something before that was not true and you felt like you had to go down that path to protect yourself or whatever it is, but it's not true, this is your opportunity to tell us. And I'm not going to hold it against you. I'm not going to say Susan is a jerk or a liar or anything like that. I'm going to say what Susan's saying now makes a little bit more sense for me and Detective Stiff. And this is that opportunity. If something is different than what you originally told us, I might be able to make sense out of it because I know your history now. I know that you were a victim of some kind of actual trauma. I know that there was things that happened to you when you were in school. I know that you have gone through hard experiences, and maybe that influenced why you said the things you said before. But I can tell you right now, what we've learned, what we've discussed all leading up to this, it doesn't make any sense. So this is your opportunity to actually tell us that something that does make sense. I'm not going to hold it against you. I'm not going to get mad. But whenever AJ was coming over that evening, what happened? What happened? Bring me to that moment when you had the gun in your hand. What were you thinking?
All I wanted her was to go away. I just, I felt she was going to come through that door and kill me. I'm sorry, that's what I felt. I just felt she was going to come through the door and kill me.
Okay.
It was a tremendous fear.
Did you feel bad for what happened?
Oh, Christ, yes.
Do you? Because the first time that we talked, there was a point where I informed you that AJ had passed away. And I wasn't sure if you'd been aware of that or not. I know they transported her in an ambulance from there.
No, I saw them doing CPR.
Yeah. So when I informed you of that, you showed emotion. You showed what appeared to me to be at least somewhat of remorse for what had happened. So do you feel bad for what had happened?
Absolutely.
You feel bad for the children?
Christ, yes.
So, and I think, Detective Pender we're trying to give you the opportunity to try to explain some of these discrepancies in the story, the things that don't really add up or make sense. And you maintaining that you were in fear for your life.
Yes.
It just doesn't make sense. And I feel like at this point, today you really haven't, and I'm not judging you, everybody processes things differently. So I understand that. But you haven't really seemed remorseful for today, at least, for what had happened.
Oh, God. It just makes me sick. I don't know I can't take it back. It's transpired. It's in the past. I don't know what the hell to do. It's just probably be shutting down again.
Okay. Do you think that's a trauma response or something? I know you said you had gone through a lot of
probably
flat affect and things like that in the past.
I mean, it's a horrible situation. And inner conflict is horrible because, it goes against my faith. I broke the commandment. I feel horrible for what I did.
Okay. So, looking back on it now, and do you think that she was actually going to get through that door? I mean, be honest with us, because
I thought she was coming through the door. Yeah. As God is my witness, I thought she was going to come through that door. I'm sorry, it's just what I felt.
So, I mean, at this point, like, we've talked to you, we've talked to a lot of people and gone through the evidence. We've discussed all of this with the state attorney's office as well. After talking to you for several hours on Saturday morning and then today, I feel that there was a level of fear, but from everything I've seen, it doesn't rise to the level for you to justify shooting through a closed door and with a firearm. Okay, and I think that wasn't reasonable what you did.
I felt so terrified. I just felt so terrified. Here she comes again. Again she's screaming, she's yelling, she's acting unreasonable. And
let me ask you this. You said that you went on Facebook today. I can only imagine that at some point you may have seen some of the news dealing with this case and this story.
Yes.
Okay. What kind of stuff did you see?
I threw a tablet at the child. I said all kinds of things that I never said.
You know what I saw? I saw 4 kids that no longer have a mother. And I'm not taking away how you were treated, but those are children nonetheless, right? And now they don't have a mother to go home to. And I think you know what you did was wrong. I think you know that there were already deputies on the way.
But there was times I called and the deputies never showed up.
I understand. It's been 2 minutes. So
to me, it wasn't 2 minutes. To me, it was much longer. In my mind, it felt like.
But there's only one reality where time
Okay.
exists. And I understand perception of time can be different for different people. But in the reality of things, you had just disconnected. Within 2 minutes, a shot was fired through that door. There was that much that transpired within that 2 minutes where statements were made. I want to know why you're throwing stuff at my kids or whatever it was she was saying. And then shot fired and she's down. And then another 911 call comes in. There's no way to justify that. In my mind, I don't think in Detective Pender's mind, and clearly in other people's minds that we've discussed this case with the state attorney, our legal counsel, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, at this point, we've discussed it with the state, and they are on the same terms as far as charging you with a manslaughter. Okay.
Okay. I don't know what to say. I was in fear for my life. I mean, honest to God, I just feared that she was going to come through that door. I'm sorry, that's how I felt. I can't change the way I felt. I mean, it was sheer terror on my part. I mean, honest to God, I was shaking.
So one of the things I want to ask, because at the point where I did let you know and I informed you, what had ultimately happened to AJ after that shooting, that she had passed away. And obviously she has 4 kids, and I was observing the interviews that were conducted with them and the emotions that they were going through. And you shared some of those same emotions at points through the conversations that we had. And I just want to, obviously I can't let you talk to them or give a message to them and face to face. Mm-hmm. But I would it's up to you if you would like to write them a letter or something to kind of, whatever's on your mind or in your heart.
You don't have to. We're just going to leave a notepad and a pen in the room. Obviously, we have some paperwork to do, so we're going to have to step out to do that, and obviously talk to our boss. I offer it to everybody that we can't let them talk to, so it's just something we do.
Understood.
So if you'd like to do that.
We're going to get that paperwork going, like he said.
But that's where the state's at right now. That's where we're at. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in just a minute, okay? But if you'd like to write them something, that's right there, okay?
We're going to head over there in a second. Can you go ahead and stand up? I need to get a picture of you before we walk you over. Stand up for me real fast. All right, can you take a step back? This is not a good camera for... All right. All right, hang on one second. Let me go take the stick. We're going to head on over there, okay?
All right, Susan. All right, we're gonna have you go with this deputy here.
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
No what?
I can't.
What's wrong? What's going on?
I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't do this.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we're to that point where that's what's going to happen. Obviously, this isn't a conviction. This is you being charged, and then you're going to have your day in court to present your side of the story. Okay, so you're going to go with this deputy.
No, I'm not.
You're going to be booked in.
No, I'm not.
And fingerprinted.
No.
They're going to take your pictures, and then you will have an arraignment in the morning.
I'm not going to. Sorry.
There's a phone down there. You'll be able to call whoever you need to call, and right there in booking.
I'm not going.
But Susan, we are going. There's no change in that now. You're under arrest. In fact, We can probably go ahead and put handcuffs on her. Let's get
Come on,
her.
Susan,
Let's get
stand
you
up.
handcuffed.
Stand up.
No, don't touch me.
Susan,
Stand up, Susan.
don't,
No.
listen,
Sorry, I can't
It can
do
go
this.
one
I
of two
can't
ways.
do
It can
this.
go an easy way or it can go a really hard way.
I'm sorry.
We don't want it to go the hard way.
I'm so sorry. I
Susan,
can't
put
do
yourself in our position. There's no choice in this. You're going over there.
this. I'm sorry. I can't do this.
Susan, you understand that from the point of the story that you've given us, that by refusing and resisting, that it's making you look bad, okay?
I'm
And
sorry,
I understand
just
your
can't.
reluctance to
I don't
want to
feel
go.
good. I just can't do
Okay,
this.
well, they have medical staff over there
As soon
that
as
can
you get over
assist
there, there's a
you.
nurse right in the front.
They can,
No.
you give them the
can't
prescription
do this.
medications that you're taking, all that. They will assist you in making sure that you get the care you need.
No,
But
I can't
we're
do
going
this.
over there, okay? You're
I
gonna go
can't.
over there and,
I just can't do this.
okay, well,
Come on, Susan, stand up.
if
We
we
don't have
have,
time to
Seriously,
debate.
I can't do this.
okay, but do you understand that you're under arrest and you're
I
gonna be
understand
taken to
I'm
the
under
jail
arrest
one
now.
way or another, okay?
I don't care.
Susan,
I just can't do this. I'm sorry.
I don't. What you're saying and doing right now is not reasonable.
I know it's not
There's been
reasonable, but I
people-
just can't do this.
So when you
So-
say it's not reasonable, that doesn't make sense to me.
I understand. I just can't do this. I'm sorry.
Okay. And this is why we're in this position here, Susan, is because the decisions you make are not reasonable. You make just like what
I'm
we're
sorry.
experiencing right now.
I'm sorry. I just can't do this. I can't do this.
I've had people sit in this chair that have done things and they get up, they walk out on their own accord. They've done some really bad things. Okay, you're not the only person, but I need you
I
to.
just feel horrible. I can't do this.
Okay, well, we're going to go to the jail. There's no changing this. There's no stopping it.
I don't care. Kill me.
We're not going to kill anybody. We're going to take you to the jail. We'd rather you walk on your own. We'd rather you just walk down there. It'd be so much better for everybody if we could just walk down
Can
there.
you just stand up for me?
No.
So what do you plan on sitting here the rest of the night?
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to die of a heart attack.
Well, like I said, they have medical staff over there. We want to be able to get you over
The
there.
quicker we get you over there, the quicker someone over there that's in medical can see you.
No, I just can't do
Susan, this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna put you in handcuffs, and if we have to forcefully bring you out there, that's what we
We're
have to
gonna
do,
do
because
that.
we're
I
obligated
really don't want
to
to.
take you to the jail now, okay?
Thank you for
this. I'm
standing up.
sorry. I just.
I understand that.
So put your hands behind your back for me.
I mean,
Thank you, Susan.
I didn't do this on purpose. This wasn't a purposeful act. I did not premeditate it. I didn't do anything like that. This is ridiculous.
We're gonna go out this way.
After a lifetime of being the neighborhood Grinch, Susan Lorenz was placed under arrest, charged with manslaughter with a firearm for the shooting, culpable negligence for shooting through the door, 2 counts of assault for swinging the umbrella at AJ's sons, and simple battery for throwing the roller skate. At the time of this recording, the prosecution has decided to go forward with only the manslaughter charge and 1 count of assault, dropping the other 3 initial charges. Now, when they finally got Susan to stand up at the end of this interrogation, while they were transporting her to the patrol car, she complained of chest pain and tried to fall to the ground.
So what do you plan on sitting here the rest of the night?
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to die of a heart attack.
The detectives were holding her so she didn't actually hit the ground, but they went ahead and called Ocala Fire Rescue and had her transported to the hospital as well. In the time frame between the killing of AJ and Susan finally being arrested, the community at large grew frustrated with police. They believed this was going to be another Florida case where an older white person unjustly kills an unarmed black person only to hide behind the stand your ground law. But simply because Susan had the claim of self-defense, by law, the police just could not make an arrest until they found the shooting justified or unjustified.
Hello, everyone. Sheriff Billy Woods here. I wanted to come to you tonight to give you an update on the homicide that occurred over the weekend. Tonight, we have arrested 58-year-old Susan Lorenz for the killing of Miss A.J. Owens. Now, my detectives have been working around the clock since this happened, sifting through evidence and interviewing witnesses. Now, I said this at the beginning. We want the same thing as Miss Owens' family, and that's justice. Now, here's the thing about justice. She's on her own time. Not my time, not a prosecutor's time, not even a mob's time. A mob seeking, well, what they think is justice. And I understand that in these situations like this, emotions run high. And it's understandable. In fact, I want to thank all of you that have sent me messages, sent me emails, texted me, and encouraging the arrest, because it shows that you care about a fellow human being. Now, many of you were struggling to understand why there was not an immediate arrest. Well, as I partially explained in the beginning, the laws here in the state of Florida are clear. Now, I may not like them. I may not agree with them. But however, those laws I will follow and I will ensure. And sometimes when we do these investigations of cases of this level, rushing in to make an arrest is not the right thing to do sometimes. In fact, it could probably cause complications or cause errors, because we want to ensure that what we present, that justice is served all the way through the courts and that the individual gets what they deserve. And that's one of the things. My detectives cannot complete an investigation without getting all sides of a story. And that night, all we had was one person's story, and that was the shooter's story. But Miss Owens' story had to be told through evidence and the eyes of witnesses who were there. I told you that we want nothing more than justice, and this can only be accomplished by maintaining the integrity of the case and leaving no stone unturned. Throughout this tragic event, we have been working very closely with Mrs. Owens' family. And right now, that family needs your prayers and support. The justice we have all been seeking has been served, but peace for them is still a ways down the road. Now, some of you have asked me about the Stand Your Ground law. Personally, I think it's a great law, designed to help Floridians to defend themselves and keep themselves safe. However, it does not apply in all situations, and this situation is a prime example of when it was not justified. It was simply a killing.
And in this case, they found it to be unjustified, rightly so. Susan Lorenz is a piece of shit. She was constantly harassing the kids, flipping them off, cursing at them, calling them names, saying racist stuff. She's a piece of shit. I get it. Kids are loud and kids are obnoxious. I totally get it. But if you're having these wild side effects and you're getting triggered by kids doing kid things, get a pair of earplugs or move to a retirement home or do something. Like the detectives were saying, remember this, Susan was in a brick home. It's not like she was in a multi-story apartment and the kids are tap dancing on top of her. She's in a brick home and the kids are outside in a field playing. I'm sure that the kids were a nuisance. I'm positive anybody that spent any time around kids would agree with me. Kids have no volume control. But how much of a nuisance could they really be? How much were the toys in the field really bothering you? You weren't mowing the lawn there. It's not your field. You're living in an apartment, in a building. It's not your field. How much could have really been an issue? And how much of it was motivated by something else? Susan says she doesn't know if she said anything racist towards the kids or towards AJ. How do you not know if you said anything racist? The questions about the memory are totally valid. You would know if you said something, if you said a racially charged pejorative towards a targeted person, you would know that. And if you didn't do it, you would know that too. But her answers are non-answers. And the reason why is because she doesn't want to lie, but she doesn't want to tell the truth. So her tactic is, I don't know, I don't remember. She basically feigns ignorance or says that she doesn't remember or doesn't know or says this history of what the word means to her or what she was told it means. It's all bullshit. It's all total bullshit. AJ's own kids even gave statements to the police saying that Susan would call them bastards and jackasses, and one even quoted Susan as saying, "This isn't the Underground Railroad, slave." Now that's pretty rough, but maybe you're thinking, oh, we should take it with a grain of salt. Maybe the kids were taught by AJ to say nasty things about the evil woman across the street. Except Patrice Roundtree of apartment number 2 says that she doesn't let her kids outside anymore because of Susan's behavior and her usage of the N-word. Ashley Remy of apartment number 2 as well says her daughter London had been harassed previously by Susan. And daughter London corroborates everybody else's stories and even says the night of the incident, Susan yelled at her, "Get away from my house, you black slave." Yvonne Koss of apartment number 4, literally the apartment connected to Susan's apartment. She says that she heard a lot of yelling and banging that night. Yvonne's story matches up a little bit with Susan, saying that while AJ was pounding on the door, her walls and her paintings and stuff were shaking. And she even says that she personally never saw Susan antagonize the kids, but she did say that she had heard a lot of stories about Susan's racial outbursts, even adding that Ajika was always nice to her and that she was confused why Susan was always so upset about kids doing kid stuff. Pretty much all the statements, except for Susan's, all matched. And that's that AJ went over there and aggressively pounded on Susan's door for 6 times in bursts of 3 times each. Her last words before being shot were either "come outside, bitch," or "bitch, come outside." It doesn't really matter, it's the same meaning anyway. At which point, Susan took a Remington 380, pointed it at the front door, and pulled the trigger, taking away a mother from her 4 doting children. Just a real evil fucking bitch. Now, Susan will be given a $154,000 bond to be released. There's some restrictions on that, and there's some conditions, namely being that she couldn't be evicted. But unfortunately for Susan, she would no longer have a stable residence after the killing, with the landlord stating that he was going to evict her. And on top of Susan basically having no ties to the area, like no family, no property, no nothing, a no bond status was given to her. On June 16th, the landlord made good on his word, and Susan was officially evicted. While Susan has yet to be convicted in a court of law, all the evidence, witness statements, even Susan's own words and her behaviors in the interrogation and after speak largely against her innocence. The maximum sentence for the crime Susan is being put on trial for is about 30 years if they run concurrently, and that would be if she got the maximum conviction. But when she finally goes in front of a judge, I'll be sure to update everybody. Susan did recently ask for a speedy trial, stating that she wasn't receiving the health care that she needed in the jail, and her case dockets are showing some activity. But otherwise, at this time, Susan Lorenz will stay in the Marion County Jail, where she will remain until sentenced. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Morbid Curiosity. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, becoming a channel member or patron. Thank you for everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. I've been having so much fun with season 2. So thank you everybody for everything. Yeah, I'm just really enjoying this, and I'm really glad that everybody's here to join me on this ride. So until the next time, I love you guys. I'll see you then. Bye.